Welcome to the Give Smart podcast. Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I've spent just about my entire career working for and with charitable organizations. I started out as a social worker and then a program director, and then I discovered that I really love fundraising and helping people turn these great ideas that they have into a reality. I've worked with tiny startups and massive international organizations. I've seen just how exciting it is when a new program gets off the ground. I've also experienced the heartbreak that happens when an amazing concept can't be realized because the dollars just weren't there. Listen, times are tough. I get it. I'm a single mom with two kids. I don't have a lot of money to spare. And when I do, I want to make sure that each dollar that I spend is being used for a cause that I care about. So I had this idea. What if I started challenging people to give to small, grassroots organizations and movements? I'm not talking about the ones that don't bat an eye when thousands or even millions come in. I'm talking about the ones who look at every dollar as a victory and a chance to do real good. Think about it. If you gave just $20 a month or even $20 a year, you'd be making an impact. What if I started a podcast for people who want to start micro giving, but they don't know where to start? Welcome to episode 3 of the Give Smart podcast. I'm really excited to be here and to be recording today, but wow, it has been a crazy week and I'm prepping for next week's interview. But in the meantime, I really wanted to get something out there. So I decided to put off the ginormous pile of laundry that I have for a few more hours so that I can get this together. So for the most part, this is pretty much an unscripted episode, but if you are watching me on YouTube and you see my eyes kind of darting places, that's because I put some bullet points together so that I wouldn't have to edit too much. Because when I get really passionate about something, I can really talk, and we don't want to expose you to all that. So here it is. Today, we're talking about volunteering. So volunteering, it's such a great way to give back to your community, and it's a great way to give back to the causes and the organizations that you love. The way that I look at it, donors and volunteers are kind of one in the same. One is giving time and expertise, and the other is giving dollars or products, but sometimes they can be one and the same. But you really have to look at it as um, this is something valuable. You're giving something valuable. So, again, the way I look at it, they're kind of one and the same. So, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Many nonprofits need volunteers. That's obvious. Maybe they're even 100% run by volunteers and they'd be completely lost without them. But some of the organizations honestly think that you are a pain in the butt. Please don't get offended by this. Just do your research so that both you and the organization can have a good experience. So I'm basing this on my own experience and feedback from my peers. And yes, I have directly managed volunteers and love them. So don't take what I say when you listen to this as 100% gospel. Really, do your own research, make your own decisions. I'm just giving you some information that will help guide you. Okay, so we are not going to really talk tonight about some of the spicy and dicey topics surrounding volunteers. We're not going to do a super deep dive. We're just going to talk about this at the surface level. I just, again, encourage you to do your research before you start exploring things like volunteer tourism and some of the ethically, I don't know, questionable, I guess you would say, parts of volunteering. And again, tonight we're just kind of focusing on the big picture to help you make a wise choice when it comes to volunteering for a local organization. So, we're going to start out with some of the reasons why organizations might have reservations about volunteers. And then we're going to talk about how you can make a good choice as far as where you're going to volunteer. So number one, that extra work and supervision piece. They might need you, but they might not need you all of the time. I found personally that there were a lot of volunteers that came in to socialize, and they came in a lot. And sometimes I felt myself putting together random work so that volunteers had something to do. We're all adults here. If you feel like you're creating more work by coming in to volunteer, they might not need you. And it's totally okay to ask. There are only so many times that a wall can be repainted or a playground can be mulched and remulched. So just think about that whenever you start a really intense volunteer project. Also, think about where you want to volunteer. An example here, I worked at a residential program and we were accredited. And in order to have someone come in and work with our staff, they had to go through a million background checks, fingerprints, and it actually cost a lot of money. And we were paying these highly qualified staff to come in and do their jobs. So if you have certain expertise that the staff doesn't have, and you're willing to share that expertise, and I'm talking about people like lawyers, certified teachers that maybe can tutor, a mental health counselor, a nurse, whatever your profession is, if you think that it could be a good fit for that organization. If you're an awesome website designer, trust me, you are needed. There is someone that wants to talk with you, but it's probably not going to be in a client-facing role. If you're an amazing vet, please go out there and share your expertise. But we don't need you to be working with humans as a financial counselor if that's not where your expertise lies. So work where you can make an impact. And we're going to talk a little more about that later. The next thing is, okay, turnover is real. So just like in a regular workplace, there are a lot of cases where there are a lot of investment in resources, like I mentioned before, that are needed to bring you in, train you, and whatever they need to do to get you on board. So if people are coming and going, it actually costs a lot of money to the organization. Also, remember that liability is a thing. So if you want to build houses, there are lovely organizations that will help you to utilize your skills, and they'll typically have the insurance and the infrastructure in place that will help you to make that happen. For other organizations, if you fall off a ladder or trip over something or step on a nail, it's game over for them. So just something to think about. So that was kind of the bad news. And here's the good news. And here's what I want you to think about when you get started. So many organizations need you. They need your skills, they need your heart. So before you randomly volunteer, here are some things to consider. Make sure that the organization is aligned with your interests and your values, and that you can bring something to the table that they need. There's something for everyone. Think about the time that you are willing and able to give. So there are a couple of ways that you can look at this. If you have expertise or a skill that you can share, like we talked about before, maybe you're great at sewing, or you're great at videography, or you have a lot of community connections and you'd be great for a fundraising committee, then go for it. There are so many organizations that need your skills. But if you want to do something different, remember that there are lots of organizations that still need you, but sometimes they need you to do the job that others won't. I can tell you from personal experience that sorting cans of food and looking for the expired ones can be absolutely the most relaxing and most helpful thing at the same time. I would personally love to go and read to shelter dogs, but there's probably a line for that, or maybe not. I don't know, but go do your thing. Anyway, put a little thought into it. And we'll be talking with each of our guests as they join us about volunteer opportunities, and maybe something will strike your fancy. I hope so. So, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes, and I'm really looking forward to sharing next week's episode and introducing you to our amazing interviewee. Until then, give smart, people. Thank you for joining me for this super short episode of the Give Smart podcast. If you like what you hear, or you have a nonprofit that you'd like to see highlighted, I encourage you to subscribe and to follow me on the socials at Give Smart Pod. You can also subscribe to my Substack at thegivesmartpodcast.substack.com. And if you're in the nonprofit biz, you can also find me at my day job at grassrootsnonprofitgrowth.com. I don't accept any money from nonprofits to be featured, but if you're a listener who wants to help support the podcast, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ Jenny Mullinax. That's JennyMullanax. Thanks.